Hello there, good evening, and welcome to another episode of iMed. We've been talking a lot about your immunity during the past couple of years. And today also, we're going to take a look at another condition related to your immunity, and this is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, AIDS. As the 1st of December is known to be the World AIDS Day. So with regards to this particular day, we're going to talk about the theme and what's the importance of getting this knowledge to be aware about AIDS as a Sri Lankan citizen as well. So to do the honors, to talk about this, to give you this information, we do have with us today Dr. Dayanath Ranatunga, former UN AIDS country representative from Sri Lanka. Good evening to you, Doctor.
Good evening.
Now, this year, 1st of December happens to be the World AIDS Day, and there's a very special theme for this year as well. Would like to know what's the theme for this year and what is so specific about it?
So, anyway, this is a World AIDS Day which was commemorated at the very first time 1988. So, this is 23rd World AIDS Day that we celebrate worldwide. So, this time the theme is very specific. It is end inequalities in AIDS and end all pandemics, which is much more suitable to the today's kind of today's environment in relation to COVID pandemic. So, when it's come to the inequalities, so HIV create certain space for us to talk about equality, where there are certain segment of the community, society, you and my brothers and sisters, who are not fortunate enough to entertain all the human rights that we entertain. Those we call them marginalized communities or deprived communities, sexual minorities, people living with HIV and AIDS, then the drug users and all the vulnerable groups including sex workers. So, if we intend to end AIDS by 2030, that is a global commitment. If you want to go there, if you want to move towards that target, definitely you should respect their human rights. Definitely we should open the pathway to access to all services that you and me entertain with dignity and respect. So, this is the common theme which has been established in the AIDS epidemic since 2015. 2015 it was something a little different, but we were talking about the same thing again over and over again. So, 2015 it is getting to zero HIV new infections, zero AIDS related deaths, zero discrimination. So, actually more or less same, but this time it has been redefined the way that suit to the current situation in terms of COVID pandemic.
Coming to Sri Lanka, now, Doctor, what is the relevance when it comes to the Sri Lankan context? How can we relate the theme, especially the theme for this year, into our country?
Sri Lanka is a South Asian country which has been governed by British for a long time. So, therefore, certain good elements has been inculcated into the current social context. So, we were talking about morality, which is actually a very good concept, but sometimes within this framework of morality, sometimes we tend to peep into the human rights and the rights of other people. So, therefore, the inequalities happen because then with this current the social kind of context, we have our own prejudices. So, based on our feelings, we sometimes have certain stigma. Stigma is kind of a thought inside your heart towards to something else or related to something else. Then because of stigma, for an example, we always promote a kind of a family life and the kind of moralistic relationships, sexual relationships, but there are certain categories who cannot entertain, or you do not entertain the same kind of things. So, based on our moral judgments, sometimes we discriminate people. Discrimination is an act. Therefore, they are not in a position to come to open world, say that their orientation or whatever the sexual behaviors, and hence they are not in a position to go there and seek treatment with confidence and respect and dignity. So, the Sri Lankan situation, we somehow manage the situation far more better than before, but still there are certain elements to be think of. For an example, feminine man, a transgender person, if that particular person walks into a clinic, I think clinic environments are conducive, but thing is that some other people will look at him in a different way. That makes him uncomfortable of coming to the clinic and seeking the services that is available. So, that actually refrain him from accessing to treatment. Then the some of the structures that has been already been developed. For an example, sex workers, they are key in the response. They are in a much more vulnerable situation than the ordinary woman. But thing is, if you want to go for their services, the clinic should be open not only 8 to 4, because 8 to 4 may be their kind of busy time. So, that's why the whole world advocate the services should be people centered. Services should be tailored to the target community that you want to serve. So, that is a kind of broader context. Secondly, people living with HIV. Actually, the discrimination starts from us,
the ordinary people,
including me, including the same studio. What was our initial message? HIV is deadly. Then if HIV is deadly, why should I take treatment? But today I am telling in the same place, the same tone, HIV is not deadly. You can have a normal life with the treatment. So, therefore, HIV is no more a kind of deadly disease. Still you have a ample of opportunity to entertain your life, enjoy your life, even your sex life.
Most important thing is to diagnose it early and also to access this treatment. So, what are the conditions prevailing in the country right now? How is the situation here in Sri Lanka when it comes to HIV?
The Sri Lankan situation is far more better than the most of the places, I would say. So, millions of people have already died of AIDS, nearly 37 million. That is the kind of global estimate. But our first patient was diagnosed in 1986 and 87. So, for the moment we have spent nearly, 35 to 40 years. But our death rate is really low. Only we lost 500 people for the moment.
For all these 30 years?
Yes. Total number of new infection that is reported was nearly 4,000. So, it is a very good track record. So, we have a window of opportunity to eliminate this situation, because we have eliminated malaria, you name it, number of diseases, even the elimination of we have eliminated the mother to child transmission of HIV. So, it is a very, I think if we have the right commitment, if we take the bold decisions, I think we are in a better position to eliminate HIV. So, we are in a far more better position for the moment. Annually we get only 300 people are being positive. When you compare to the other countries of this region, it is lakhs, millions. So, we are in a far more better position to end AIDS by the 2030. That is a global commitment. On the other hand, there is another new concept called U equals U. U equals U. First U is undetectable. Second U is untransmittable. If you are on treatment, your virus load is come to a certain stage where it is just conducting a blood test, the virus cannot be diagnosed in your bloodstream. So, that is called undetectable. If I have a undetectable virus load in my blood, I won't transmit to anyone, even with the kind of unprotected sexual intercourse. So, that is what is called the new science has evolved there. So, therefore, if you want to eliminate the HIV virus, what you should do is you should identify the people, diagnose the people. The Sri Lanka should do that strategy. You should identify or diagnose the people and put them on treatment.
So, how about this diagnosis process, doctor? What are the preventive signs and symptoms that a patient can be present with when it comes to AIDS?
Unfortunately, it is little different from COVID and other viral diseases.
Yeah.
Although HIV is also a viral disease, what I'm trying to say is their manifestations are little bit different than the ordinary viral disease. For an example, if you get COVID or dengue, your symptoms will appear within days. But HIV is called a slow virus. It will take years, at least 10 years to show the symptoms of immunodeficiency. So, therefore, if someone has risky behavior, unprotected sex or any kind of risky behavior, people do mistakes, come on, right? But thing is, you cannot live with the mistakes, right? You have to correct it. The only option is get yourself tested. Testing is freely available all over the STD clinics in the country free of charge. Very simple test. Then once you get result, if you happen to be positive, the treatments are available again free of charge. You should not spend a single cent to take treatment. This is a lovely country, but we want to encourage people to come and do testing. That is where equality matters.
So, that links again to this year's theme.
Yep.
When it comes to talking about the diagnosis process and everything, and especially the global targets, now all the countries in the world are bound to achieve this. As an island nation, as a developing country, Sri Lanka, what are the gaps that you see, doctor, in achieving this?
Yeah, being in the system for a little while, even the UN system, so even the globe, it's not particularly even Sri Lanka. Most of the political leaders very kind of they are in a better position to do commitments, but commitments are not necessarily made into actions. So, here this is the high time to make commitment to action. First one is make a conducive environment for marginalized people to come and get their services, testing and everything. So, secondly, there are certain outdated laws. For an example, homosexuality is criminalized in this country. Law is enforced in 1844, 150 years before. Even the people who enforce the law have taken out that particular part from their books, but still those things are in our books. So, on the other hand, the vagrant ordinance, that was 1818 or somewhere, nearly 200 years old law. Those laws are in book. Then most of the people are not, especially we want to have necessary people on board. We want to, our vulnerable communities we named commercial sex workers, then the drug users, then the men who have sex with men. So, those three categories are really important. So, if you want to get them on board, all these discriminatory laws, policies, practice should be repealed. So, it is the commitment of the host government to make their life much more easy, much more respectable, and respect with the dignity.
And doctor, I would like to know about the misnomes now. Some might believe about different beliefs, different thoughts, and different ideas are being shared when it comes to regarding the transmission, or it can be regarding something else with regards to AIDS. Would like to know about those. Please correct these misnomes.
Yeah. First thing is, if you happen to have one of the persons in this crew or wherever the working place, you don't want to work with people living with HIV. Why? You are afraid that you are getting HIV. But by having a normal social contacts, not like COVID, not like dengue, not like TB, you won't get HIV by having a casual social
maybe.
conversation and contacts with that particular person. So therefore, please don't discriminate people based on their HIV status. Right? No one willingly got HIV into in their body. So first one is, if you happen to work with people, if you have to associate with people who are living with HIV, that is a no reason. There's no reason for you to contract them by having a normal social contacts. So that's number one. Number two is, there's a misconception that if I happen to have the HIV virus, I have urge to spread to you or other people. That is another kind of misconception. I have been working with the HIV community of living with HIV for nearly 20-25 years.
That's a long time.
Long time. So what they always say is, somehow we got the virus, but we should take each and every step to prevent others. So they are not, in a mood that the kind of that I need to spread this all over the places. So therefore, that's a kind of another misconception. On the other hand, even the blood drop, this virus can be transmitted only by 3 means. First one is sexual transmission, sexual fluids, that is sperms or the vaginal secretions. Second one is blood. Third one is mother to child transmission. Very simple, right?
Yeah.
Even the highest concentration you can find in the blood, but science has proven that if that particular blood drop is exposed to the environment for 42 seconds, the virus dies off. So therefore, there should not be any kind of fear to work with people living with HIV. The other one is the people who belong to sexual minorities. We think that always majority is right. That's the kind of, even the kind of general norms of the society is that. But people have different desires, different fantasies in even our usual life, normal life. Likewise, there are certain people who have different fantasies, behaviors in their sexual life also. You should not deprive people based on their sexual orientation or sexual behaviors. They are also very normal people like you and me, who entertain the society, entertain the relationships. Especially homosexuals. People, there are certain kind of misconception in terms of homosexuality also. Some of the people say that they try to catch people when they are going around. But this word homosexual itself a discriminatory word for me. Why? Sexual. But relationship between two people are not always sexual. It's a kind of emotional relationship. So-called heterosexual relationship, just to imagine that is it only sex? No. Sex is only a small wedge of the whole relationship. But thing is, they behave differently, so that's why we can't tolerate it. So we have to entertain this diversity of this society. There you are develop your kind of sympathy or empathy towards them. Be one of them. Play a supportive role. So those are the things actually the society should think other way around. People discriminate simply because you don't know. If you know the subject, if you know the facts, then you don't discriminate. Ignorance causes discriminatory attitudes and stigmatization.
It's probably one of the biggest reasons why we are here today discussing this topic with regards to the World AIDS Day. And Doctor, now as we are reaching almost the end of our episode today, regarding the treatment availability here in Sri Lanka, as we know, viruses cannot be cured. That's what we hear, like there aren't any medicine, there are no treatment. So, but Doctor confidently said to our viewers that this you can lead a normal life. How? You can explain.
Come on. None of these diseases are curable.
Yeah.
Is diabetic curable?
No.
Is hypertension curable?
No way.
Is asthma curable? No. So, all the diseases can be controlled with treatment. Likewise, HIV also confidently controlled with the available treatment. I can still remember when I start my practice as a kind of junior medical officer, people used to swallow a handful of tablets, ARV, antiretroviral drugs. Now, everything has come to one single tablet. That's the beauty of the current science. You can take 2 tablets in the morning, 2 tablets in the evening. So, it is very easy. So, therefore, I am confidently say that you can lead a normal life. I know one of my good friend, actually I knew him since my medical student time. So, now she is happily living with HIV for last 34 years. Come on, what else you are asking? So, therefore, I am confidently tell you again, you can lead to a normal life. All the drugs are available free of charge. It's free of charge, right? Only thing is you should know your status and go to the clinics, and our clinics will be look after you by the whatever the possible way. Then most of the clinics, they understand you, they have seen people like you, there's no discriminatory attitude. Only thing is we want to make sure people are seeking our treatment at the clinical level. In the clinics also, they are taking necessary steps to minimize discrimination based on usual human behaviors.
True enough. Very important indeed now, especially when it comes to these particular conditions. It's less spoken in a country like Sri Lanka, it's less heard, but now you are aware of it. Finally, a take-home message for our viewers, Doctor.
Take-home message again and again. You know, always life is full of mistakes. Sometimes willingly, unwillingly, unknowingly, you may make a kind of mistakes in your life, but still you are in a better position to make it correct. If you have a slightest doubt about your sexual behaviors, please go and do testing. Testing is free of charge. Then if you happen, most of the time you may have negative results. Then you can establish a confident life. After that, you can control your behaviors, and at least you can entertain the protective sexual encounter, whatever the sexual behaviors. Then if not, worst case scenario, once in a blue moon, we assume that if you happen to be positive, don't worry, still we can take care of you till to the end of your life.
Well, thank you so much, Doctor. It must have been very important to all of you, very informative indeed, especially with regards to the World AIDS Day, which falls on the 1st of December. We thank Dr. Dayanath Rantunga for being with us today on iMed and invite you to join another episode of iMed next week as well. Take care. Stay safe.